Hi, welcome back to the channel. Talking about the Silver Sky today versus a Fender Strat because I've got both guitars. I can't bring myself to sell my Fender Strat and I can't bring myself to sell my Silver Sky, so I'm going to have both. I've had this guitar for about 6 months, right, 6-7 months. So I've used it quite a lot. I've done quite a lot of shows with it. I've actually had some issues with it as well, which I've talked about in a previous video. Essentially, it was the frets were unlevel. Some people have said that that's what you get when you buy a rubbish guitar. Well, I don't think they're a rubbish guitar, and I think it's actually amazing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the features and what's different, because I think that's what's interesting really, is what is actually different between this and a Strat. And if I didn't have one or the other, which one would I buy? So first of all, the cool thing about this guitar was the neck. I really love the neck. It's a big handful of a neck. It's kind of like a 62 profile, but it's actually got a little bit more shoulder towards the top, and it changes as you go up the neck. So it starts off quite narrow and the shoulders kind of come as you go up the neck. It's got a very slabby fretboard as well, which is something that I like, and I've seen on vintage guitars, and it really has a vintage guitar vibe. So sound wise, you know, really nice thick kind of tone. On the next position, it's got a lovely top end to it, and the tone knobs are really responsive. But there's always a lovely set, like, clarity to this guitar. That's your middle. And then on the bridge, it's quite fat sounding. It is a bit spiky. You know, I would prefer something like, I've always got this thing with guitars, is I prefer the sound of like a telly on the bridge. But it's very usable, you know, and if you start whacking gain on that, it'll be fine. So what's really similar to a Strat is obviously the shape. The weight of it is very similar. Its scale lengths, I think it's the same as a Strat, so 25.5. It's got a thing on it where I feel like it's a bit easier to pull the strings, and it could be because the head is on an angle. So you've got a neck angle here, which you wouldn't normally have on a Fender. It's got 3 aside, which is cool. I can live with that. It does have a scarf joint on the back, which makes the neck stronger, believe it or not. And you haven't got the skunk stripe. I love a skunk stripe, like what you normally get on a Fender. This cutaway cavity neck pocket is nice as well. It's better on my Fender in terms of how that's been put together. The quality, the gaps on the Fender is actually better, but it's a US Fender. Bridge is decked out the box like it would be on a normal Fender. But yeah, that playability is lovely. One of the cool things on the back here, I normally take the plates off straight away because they get in the way when a string snaps. On here, you can just access that. So if a string does snap, you'll be able to access that no problem. It hasn't got that silly thing where you've got loads of little holes. The neck's quite wide compared to the Fender. So if I got my Fender here, that neck is a lot wider than it is on this one. This neck's quite thin as well in comparison, but this is the newer kind of design. If I went for a vintage style Fender where you'd have a thicker neck, you'd probably have a thinner sort of profile from end to end in terms of width, but the actual shape of that neck and the way that takes up that space in your hand that it takes up would probably be a bit more. One of the great things about the Silver Sky is just the way the jack plate is designed, and it comes out, it's on a convex instead of flat, and you are less likely to have trouble with that. You can find it really quickly plugging it in. I like the knob design. It's got these little it hasn't got the indentations, they kind of come outwards, and that's different to the knobs on the Fender, which collect dirt. Not that it's ever been a problem. Lovely details like birds obviously is great. Just having a look at the markers on the side of the neck are absolutely the same between a Fender and a PRS. So you've got this halfway across the fretboard, you've got your dots, and the dots are very similar looking. They look like they're made of clay on the Fender, but they could be plastic. They're sort of same actually on the PRS. So again, a lot of those kind of details are very much the same. The hardware on the Fender is proven kind of shallow stuff for the machine heads. These are more of a vintage style, but they've got that plastic thing going on, which is kind of like a Tesla. It was designed after a Tesla design that John Mayer did. It's a bit Marmite on people. Some people hate it, some people love it. I quite like it. I think it's cool. I can live with that. I do feel though, in terms of design, the truss rod cover offsets that. So because of the truss rod cover being in the same kind of colour and material, it kind of works. I think if it didn't, it wouldn't work as much. It needed that to kind of flow across the design. But all in all, these guitars sound very similar. They carry the same kind of vibe. I'm probably using this more because my other Strat, my American Strat, it needs a bit of love. So the frets have really worn out. And it's a great workhorse guitar. I've used it for years, but it just needs a bit of love to it. I could have probably spent the money that I spent on a Silver Sky just making my Strat even better. Because in the long run, I've had to buy a Silver Sky, and then I've had to have a lot of work done on it to get it the way I want it. I must say though, that might happen to anybody that buys a cheaper guitar. To make it a truly great guitar, and I've got, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, I've got some great guitars. Behind me is a McCarthy core model. Oh no, it isn't, it's a hollow body. I've got a hollow body behind me, I've got McCarthy, I've got a really wonderful Les Paul. I've got some really nice, actual, nice guitars. This is up there with them. I'll still take this out more often than some of the other guitars. And to me, I love just sitting and playing with it. So it does feel compact, though if I hold it next to a Strat, there's nothing really compact about it. You hold it next to a Strat, everything's kind of in the same place, starts and finishes in the same place. I think it probably looks a bit compact because of the way the headstock is squashes those 3-a-side tuners. So yeah, there's nothing massively profound about this guitar that's massively different from a Fender, but it is a nice alternative. It does feel like a good piece of equipment, a good quality guitar. And if you've got any kind of thoughts about these, if you've actually owned one, I think some people think you have to own a guitar for a while before you decide, whether it's the right guitar or not. I think this is a keeper. It's really, really lovely. I'm not actually planning on modifying it in any way. One of the things that I've done on my other PRS, on my PRS Hollow Body SE, was I changed the machine heads for the lock-in ones, because I had problems with tuning on that guitar, and slowness and reactivity with the machine heads that came stock. These are fine. I don't actually feel like I want to upgrade those. There's no problem with these pickups. These pickups are wonderful and they do everything that you want. They can be really nice and clear. They've got a proper nice kind of Fender-y kind of tone. A great guitar. You can use the whammy bar as much as you like. The other thing actually is it's got a pop-in whammy bar, so you just pop that in. You haven't got to go round and round and round for for it to just dangle around. I prefer that style. The one thing that I have seen available is the bridge saddles that you get on the core model look like more traditional PRS ones. These ones have corroded quite badly in the time that I've had it. It's a quality issue thing that you're going to get with a guitar that's a bit cheaper. If I was to do any modification, it would be to replace those. But I am going to leave them as they are for the foreseeable until they do get very corroded and I'm not able to clean them and they start pitting. Other than that though, great guitar, recommend it. Check them out. If you've got ideas or feelings about getting one, just play one. Get your hands on one, then you'll know. Some people won't like thick neck, some people will. It's really funny. I wanted a thick neck Les Paul because I have a thick neck Strat and a thick neck PRS. Got the thick neck Les Paul, a 50s style, and didn't quite like it. I settled more on a 59 type style or even the 60s style. So there you go. If there's any questions, leave a comment. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe.